I congratulate him for successfully completing his tour of duty as Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces. Under your supervision, the AFP has made significant strides in reducing the presence and capabilities of communist and local terrorist groups. In terms of our national security, the AFP has conducted hundreds of maritime air patrols, naval surface patrols, as well as deployed hundreds of troops to defend our islands. The AFP also established dozens of littoral monitoring stations and detachments across the country. Given your extensive experience in safeguarding peace in conflict-affected areas, I urge you to recalibrate our internal security operations so that we can deliver public services in geographically isolated and disadvantaged communities. As your Commander-in-Chief, I assure you that this administration is firm in reinforcing this noble pursuit by modernizing the AFP. Along with our efforts to strengthen our external defense capabilities, I ask you to continue working with national government agencies and civilian stakeholders to form an archipelagic consciousness amongst Filipinos. This will help champion our country's territorial integrity and sovereignty. I have faith that under the supervision of General Brawner, the armed forces will continue to ensure the security of Filipinos and the national sovereignty of our country amidst the challenges ahead.
A few moments later.
We would also like to acknowledge the Vice Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Lieutenant General Arthur M. Cordura. Likewise, we also acknowledge the Deputy Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Lieutenant General Chardon Sean Garland, Philippine Navy Marines.
Announcing the arrival of the President of the Republic of the Philippines and Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. As we now proceed with the ceremony, we shall have the entry of colors.
Enter the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, the Philippine National Anthem.
Bayang magiliw, perlas na silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baghaw, may dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagbinindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilig. Lupa ng araw ng wanhatid pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mga tay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please remain standing for the invocation by Colonel Roy L. Lungao, Chief Chaplain, Philippine Army.
Manalangin tayo. Pinupuri ka namin, o mahal naming Panginoong Diyos, sa aming pagtitipon at kaisahan sa makabuluhang kaganapan na ito. Masasaksihan namin ngayon ang seremonya ng pagsasalin ng pamamahala sa aming sandatahang lakas. Utang na loob naming tinatanaw sa pasasalamat ang biyaya ng mga tagumpay na nakamit, ang lalong pagpapaunlad ng kakayahan at ang lahat ng mabuting pagbabagong nagawa sa aming sandatahang lakas sa mahusay na pamumuno ni General Andres C. Centino. Kasunod nito ay masasaksihan naman ang seremonya ng kanyang pagretiro sa active military service. Maraming salamat, Panginoon, sa biyaya ng kanyang pagkatao at sa kanyang mga huwarang gawa sa pamumuno at tapat na paglilingkod sa bayan bilang kawal at sa mga karangalan na kanyang nadala sa aming hanay. Iyo nawa siyang patuloy na pagpalain at lingapin sa bagong yugto ng kanyang buhay bilang sibilyan, 10 ng kanyang mga mahal sa buhay. Ngayon naman ay iyong biniyayaan ang aming sandatahang lakas ng mahusay din na general na hahalili bilang bagong punong general sa pagkatao ni Lieutenant General Romeo S. Brawner Jr. Pagpalain mo po siya sa ipinagkaloob mong bagong katungkulan na ito, upang sa kanyang pamumuno at sa gabay
ng kagalang-galang na Pangulo ng aming bansa at aming Commander-in-Chief, Presidente Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Ang aming sandatahang lakas ay patuloy na matagumpay na magampanan ang marangal nitong katungkulan at misyon at manatiling maging bukal ng pag-asa para sa aming mga kababayan. At pagpalain mo rin po kaming lahat na natipon ngayon upang patuloy naming matahak ang landas ng iyong kalooban at matugunan ng tapat ang iyong pagtawag at paghirang sa buhay na niloob mo para sa bawat isa sa amin. Pagtibayin mo po ang aming pananampalataya at ilayo lagi sa anumang kapahamakan, sampo ng aming mga mahal sa buhay. Papuri sa iyo, Panginoon, ngayon at magpakailanman. Amen.
Please be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, we welcome you all to the Armed Forces of the Philippines Change of Command and Retirement Ceremony in honor of General Andres Castor Centino, Philippine Army. Today's ceremony showcases the changing of the guards of the Armed Forces of the Philippines from the outgoing leader, General Andres C. Centino, to the incoming leader, Lieutenant General Romeo S. Brawner, Jr. On this occasion, we recognize the man who steered the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Today's ceremony highlights the presentation of award to the outgoing Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, for the exceptional performance rendered during his term. The award to be presented is the Philippine Legion of Honor. We'd like to request General Andres Centino, sir, to stand and step forward as the citation of the award will be read by the Adjutant General, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Brigadier General Bernardo R. Fortes, Jr.
Republic of the Philippines, Department of National Defense, General Headquarters, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City. General Orders Number 1111, published on 21 July 2023. The award of Philippine Legion of Honor, degree of Chief Commander. By direction of the President and pursuant to paragraph 2A, Section 1-2, Chapter 1, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Regulations G, 131-054, dated 26 June 2014, the Philippine Legion of Honor in the degree of Chief Commander is hereby awarded to General Andres Castor Centino, Office Address 9851, Philippine Army, for eminently meritorious and valuable services rendered as the 59th Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines from 7 January to 21 July 2023. His inspired leadership and firm commitment to the continued institution of policies and adoption of measures backed by strategic planning, stakeholder engagement, and convergence efforts led to sustained victory against terrorism through peace-building efforts and employment of a multi-stakeholder, whole-of-the-nation approach. During his tenure, the AFP fortified the country's air, land, and sea defenses through the deployment of troops and military detachments in the border islands, especially those covering the area in the West Philippine Sea, establishment of littoral manning stations throughout the country, and the conduct of maritime air patrols and joint law enforcement operations designed to enhance security and provide continuous military presence in disputed areas to uphold national sovereignty. Under his direct supervision, the AFP diligently carried out his noble duties of serving the people and securing the state. By these achievements, General Centino earned the lasting respect and admiration of the Philippine government and the Filipino people. By order of the Secretary of National Defense, Arthur Mirasol Cordura, Lieutenant General Philippine Air Force, Vice Chief of Staff. Official signed Bernardo R. Fortes Jr., Brigadier General Philippine Army, the Adjutant General.
We'd like to request the spouse of the outgoing Chief of Staff, Mrs. Sheila S. Centino, ma'am, to assist in the awarding. Please all stand.
His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is requested to present the award, assisted by the Secretary Gilberto C. Chodoro Jr., Department of National Defense.
Congratulations to General Centino, sir. Please be seated. Thank you to His Excellency, to Defense Secretary, and to Mrs. Centino. Once again, a big hand for the outgoing Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
We shall now move on with the change of command ceremony.
The relief and designation orders will be read by the Adjutant General, Armed Forces of the Philippines.
General Headquarters, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City. General Orders Number 1109, published on 20 July 2023. Section 1, Termination. Designation of General Andres Castor Centino, Officer -9851, Philippine Army, as Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, is terminated effective 21 July 2023. Section 2, Designation. Lieutenant General Romeo Saturnino Brawner, Jr., Officer -10052, Philippine Army, is designated as Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, effective 21 July 2023, by command of General Centino, Charlton Cian Martinez Gaerlan, Lieutenant General, Philippine Navy Marines, the Deputy Chief of Staff. Official signed, Bernardo Orpotes Jr., Brigadier General, Philippine Army, the Adjutant General.
The outgoing Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Andres Castor Centino, will read and sign the order for his relinquishment of command.
General Headquarters, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff, Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City. 21 July 2023, Relinquishment Order. General Orders Number 1109, pursuant to Section 1, Paragraph 1, dated 20 July 2023, I hereby relinquish my duties and responsibilities as the Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, effective this date, and I sign in your presence.
The incoming Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Lieutenant General Romeo Brawner, Jr., will read and sign the order for his assumption of command.
General Headquarters, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff, Assumption Order, General Orders Number 1109. Pursuant to Section 2, Paragraph 2, dated 20 July 2023, I hereby assume the duties and responsibilities as the Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, effective this date, and I sign in your presence.
We shall now witness the handover of the command symbol to be presided by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Being handed over is a saber, a symbol of responsibility that goes with command and authority. It is closely associated with military leadership. The handover of the command symbol represents the dynamism of the military organization. Responsibilities of the outgoing commander are being relinquished, yet a successor of same standard, reared with excellence just like him, accepts the responsibilities and stewardship of the command. Thank you very much, and congratulations to both the immediate past and new Chiefs of Staff.
The new Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Lieutenant General Romeo S. Brawner Jr., will give his remarks.
His Excellency Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., sir, the President of the Republic of the Philippines and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Honorable Antonio Lagdameo Jr., the Special Assistant to the President, the Honorable Gilbert C. Teodoro Jr., Secretary, Department of National Defense, General Andres C. Centino, the immediate past Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, sir. Members of my family, other relatives, Malacanang officials, DND officials, generals and flag officers present together with their ladies, former Chiefs of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, members of PMA Class 1988 and their ladies, members of PMA Class 1989 and their ladies. Sir, may I request them just to stand up to be recognized? Class 89, please. Thank you. Friends from the University of the Philippines, our broads from the UP Vanguards, fellow Special Forces paratroopers, friends from the media, officers, enlisted personnel, civilian human resource, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Today, I stand before you, both honored and humbled. Honored for being given the responsibility of leading the more than 150,000 soldiers, Marines, sailors, and airmen, the more than 70,000 CAFGU auxiliary forces, the more than 5,000 civilian human resource, and the more than 1 million reservists of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. I am likewise humbled for given this opportunity to serve our country and the Filipino people. Thus, I would like to thank God for this great blessing. I believe that all promotions and designations come from God. Moreover, I believe that promotions are not given as a reward for past accomplishments or even failures, but as a sign that one is ready or prepared to take on bigger responsibilities. Thus, this designation is my way of glorifying God. I would like to specially thank our President and Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., sir, for giving me this chance to serve our country as the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. I may not be the perfect candidate for this position, but you can be assured, sir, that I will give my steadfast loyalty, my utmost professionalism, and my absolute commitment to the Constitution and to the duly constituted authorities. I owe this to God and to the Filipino people. Let me also thank the Secretary of National Defense, the Honorable Gilberto Teodoro Jr., sir, for endorsing me to the President. Thank you, sir, for your trust and confidence. I would like to dedicate this humble accomplishment to the members of my family, Melody, Kiel, Romeo III, or Romel, Zuri, Sabrina, my siblings Eric, May, Ferdinand, and their spouses, my uncle, Police Brigadier General Percy Brawner, my in-laws, Attorney and Mrs. James Valeros, my foster mother, Ma'am Edna Nevada, and my other relatives from the Brawner and Saturnino clans. This designation is specially dedicated to my relatives who have already passed away. My late father, Justice Romeo Brawner Jr., my mother, Dr. Lenora Fe Brawner, my sister, Dr. Vicky Jane Brawner, my uncles, General Felix Brawner Jr. and Colonel Franklin Brawner, my cousins, Lieutenant Felix Brawner III and Captain Winston Brawner Bagilat. I am sure that they are looking upon us from heaven, beaming with pride. As I take the helm of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, allow me to articulate the 5 areas where I wish to focus our efforts. For these focus areas, I would like to keep in line with the President's call for national unity. So please allow me, sir, to use the acronym UNITY to better explain these focus areas. This was also used earlier by General Bacaro when he took over as Chief of Staff. U is for unification. Internally, we will focus on making sure that we have a solid and professional armed forces of the Philippines. All members of the AFP, whether they are officers, enlisted personnel, or civilian human resource, should follow the chain of command. Externally, we will help unite our communities. We will make sure that the former rebels unite once again with their families as we extend our hands in reconciliation. We will leverage interagency coordination, linkaging, and alliance building in furtherance of our whole-of-nation approach. N is for normalization. We have to give special attention to the normalization process in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, particularly in the disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration of former fighters of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, as stipulated in the Bangsamoro Organic Law. I is for internal security operations. We shall immediately defeat the remaining local terrorist groups and the communist terrorist group to attain total victory. We have to sustain the dividends of peace by making sure that there will be no resurgence of insurgency and terrorism in our country. T is for territorial defense. In line with the President's pronouncement of not giving an inch of our territory, the AFP will endeavor to modernize its personnel, equipment, facilities, processes, and systems so as to enable it to be a lethal and competent fighting force capable of defending our territory from external aggression. Part of this modernization would be a focus on cyber warfare. I see cyber as a great equalizer, and we have great potential to be a player in the cyber domain. We shall also actively pursue our international defense and security engagements to strengthen our relations with our allies and partners. We shall actively participate in the United Nations missions to enhance our country's reputation as a peace-loving nation. Finally, Y. Y is for youth. The AFP will do its share in developing our youth, the future leaders and citizens of our nation, to be responsible and patriotic defenders of our national identity as a people and of our territorial integrity. One way of doing this is through the proper and relevant conduct of the ROTC's program. This will also coincide with our efforts to develop our reserve force. That, in a nutshell, is the meaning of the acronym UNITY. At this point, let me congratulate General Andres Centino for an outstanding career as a military officer and for a splendid job as the 37th and the 39th Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Palakpakan po natin si General Centino. This is not the first time that he and I have been principals in a change of command ceremony. Previously, I took over from General Centino as the commander of the 4th Infantry Division in Northern Mindanao, and then again as Commanding General of the Philippine Army. Thank you, Sir Andy, for all the lessons that you have taught me. God bless you, sir, in the next chapter of your life. To our allies, partners, stakeholders, and friends, I ask you to continue supporting the armed forces of the Philippines. Please help us help you. Security and peace, after all, is a collective responsibility shared by all of us. And finally, to our soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, and civilian human resource, I ask you to remain faithful to the oath that we all took when we entered the service, that of bearing true faith and allegiance to the Republic of the Philippines. Our mission is to ensure that this administration is successful in governing our nation, in securing our peace, and in protecting our territory at all costs. Before I end, I would like to quote the poem entitled Pledge of Loyalty by Albert Kim Hubbard. And I quote, "If you work for a man, in heaven's name, work for him. Speak well of him and stand by the institution he represents. Remember, an ounce of loyalty is worth a pound of cleverness. But if you must growl, condemn, and eternally find fault, why? Resign your position, and once you are outside, damn to your heart's content. But if you condemn this organization, the first high wind that comes along will blow you away, and probably you will never know why." End of quote. Mabuhay ang sandatang lakas ng Pilipinas. Mabuhay ang sambayanang Pilipino. To God be the glory. Maraming salamat po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you very much. The new Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, Lieutenant General Romeo S. Brawner Jr.
We'll now move on with the retirement ceremony of General Andres Castor Centino.
May we now request General Centino, sir, to please stand and step forward as the Adjutant General of the Armed Forces of the Philippines reads the retirement order.
Republic of the Philippines, Department of National Defense, General Headquarters, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City. General Orders Number 1108, published on 20 July 2023. Compulsory retirement. Pursuant to the provisions of Section 6 of Republic Act Number 11709, as amended by Republic Act Number 11939, dated 2 June 2023, General Andres Castor Centino, Officer Dash 9851, Philippine Army, having completed 39 years, 3 months, and 20 days of active military service in the Armed Forces of the Philippines from 1 April 1984 to 20 July 2023, is compulsorily retired in the rank of General effective 21 July 2023 with retirement pay based on the salary grade of General with 5th longevity pay by order of the Secretary of National Defense Andres Castor Centino, General Philippine Army Chief of Staff. Official signed Bernardo Ortiz Jr., Brigadier General Philippine Army, the Adjutant General.
Please remain in front, sir. We'd like to request Mrs. Sheila Centino, ma'am, to join your husband on stage. His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is requested for the presentation of the plaques and mementos.
The command plaque is hereby presented to General Andres Castor Centino, Officer-9851, Philippine Army, for meritorious and valuable service as the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Plaque of Honorable Service is presented to General Andres C. Centino for his 39 years, 3 months, and 20 days of faithful and honorable service to the Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Likewise, the coat of arms is also presented to General Andres Castor Centino, Philippine Army. This coat of arms embodies the Armed Forces of the Philippines' mandate to serve and protect the Philippine democracy and freedom. Likewise, the framed medals is also presented to General Andres C. Centino. These are all of the awards that were bestowed on him during his active tour of duty.
Pagpupugay sa Kawal Pilipino Plaque or Plaque ng Pagpupugay sa Kawal Pilipino, iginagawad kay General Andres C. Centino, pagpaparangal at pagkilala sa natatanging pagganap ng mga tungkulin bilang isang leader at Kawal Pilipino ng sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas.
This time, Mrs. Centino will be presented with a plaque of appreciation. The plaque of appreciation is hereby presented to Mrs. Sheila S. Centino for her unselfish, faithful, and devoted support to her husband's lasting contribution and dedicated service to the Armed Forces of the Philippines and to our nation.
This time, Mrs. Centino will be presented with a glass replica of the Sampaguita, symbolizing fidelity, purity, devotion, strength, and dedication. These virtues embodied by the Sampaguita that also reflect the persona of the worthy and inspiring spouse of the Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines. This time, we'll be having the presentation of the encased Philippine flag. And as we witness the presentation, everyone is requested to stand. Symbolizing the aspirations and sentiments of the Filipino people, it embodies love of country and patriotism. For the men and women of the noble profession of arms, it means defending our freedom to the extent of paying the ultimate sacrifice. The Philippine flag is presented to General Andres C. Centino.
Congratulations to General Centino and Mrs. Centino, ma'am, and thank you to His Excellency and to the Defense Secretary, and once again, a big hand for General and Mrs. Centino.
Please be seated.
The immediate past Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Andres Castor Centino, Philippine Army, will now deliver his valedictory address.
His Excellency Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., President, Republic of the Philippines, Honorable Gilberto Teodoro Jr., Secretary, National Defense, Honorable Antonio Lagdameo Jr., Special Assistant to the President, Lieutenant General Romeo S. Brawner Jr., and Mrs. Brawner, ma'am. May I greet also my wife, Sheila, government officials, generals and flag officers present, and their ladies, former chiefs of staff, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and the ladies, members of the Joint Personnel and Special Staff, chiefs, commanders of the AFSUs present, members of PMA Class 1988, and with the permission of the President, may I request my classmates sir, to please stand. And their ladies, of course. Thank you for coming. The members of PMA Class 1989 and their ladies, friends from the media, officers, enlisted personnel, and civilian human resource, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. 39 years of gratitude. That sums up my life as a soldier and as an officer of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. For truly, one can never be thankful enough for the opportunity to serve our country and our people. These long years of my life in uniform have strengthened the soldier in me, encouraged the leader that I desired to be, and honed the public servant who will say yes when duty calls. I am grateful to the Lord Almighty, the great architect of the universe, for every moment I have had to do my share to bring forward our vision and our quest for peace. Without His grace and His divine guidance, all my milestones and the honor of leading the Armed Forces of the Philippines would not have happened. My appreciation and gratitude goes to His Excellency, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., our Commander-in-Chief, for the trust in my ability to contribute to his vision of a peaceful and progressive Philippines, and for giving me every chance to lead the march of our troops, as well as to serve the Filipino people in a different capacity. Thank you also, Mr. President, for allowing me to continue and complete my service. Every soldier has one ultimate goal he holds sacred: to fulfill his years of service and be permitted to serve until the final day. And to all those who helped me finish my career rightfully, this soldier is immensely grateful. To my fellow workers in government, especially in the defense establishment and in the Armed Forces of the Philippines, it has been my honor and my privilege to have stood shoulder to shoulder with you in achieving our shared goal of serving the people and securing the state. Together, over the years, we have worked tirelessly and achieved significant milestones, from territorial defense to internal security to humanitarian disaster relief operations. We have attained our targets and made a tangible impact on the communities that we serve and we protect. On the other hand, our alliances within the region and with our long-standing partners have enhanced our capacity and interoperability, strengthening our ability to address security challenges in the West Philippine Sea and the region as well. With these achievements, we have gained momentum and are ready to realign our efforts to meet our goals within designated timelines. And I'm proud to announce that our operational tempo that we set at the beginning of the year has yielded substantial results. To the men and women of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, all the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, and our reservists who have been the solid, undaunted force that has driven our current successes in internal security operations. Never in the history of our campaign against insurgency that we have come close to finally resolving this problem. The adversary is currently at its weakest, and the armed forces of the Philippines is at its strongest. And the support of the Filipino people is overwhelmingly in our favor. Our sustained drive, discipline, and commitment under the determined leadership of our Commander-in-Chief are integral in ending insurgency and ensuring peace and prosperity across our land. This will enable the armed forces of the Philippines to refocus on the pressing and urgent task of defending our territory. We have done much together, and I salute all our gallant officers, tireless personnel, and professional civilian employees for all the progress that the Armed Forces of the Philippines has made, especially in the first half of the year. I make special mention of our soldiers serving in the farthest and most difficult deployments and places that I have visited. In Mapanas and Katubig, in Samar, in Himamaylan in Negros, in Parola Island in the West Philippine Sea, in Mabulis Island in Itbayat, in Batanes Islands in the north, in Balut Island in Malungun, Sarangani, and in the remote places in southern Philippines. The dedication and sacrifices may sometimes not recognized and acknowledged enough. But thank you for your noble service to the nation. And to our fellow soldiers who paid the most, their precious lives, your sacrifices will not be in vain as victory is near. Our efforts have not gone unnoticed, though, as attested by the consistently high trust ratings that the AFP has maintained through the years, ranking amongst the top 2 government agencies based on Publicus Asia Pahayag survey released June of this year. And even in the global community, the Philippines has climbed 19 places in the military strength ranking, standing 32nd out of 145 countries in the global firepower military strength ranking of 2023. The rest of the year holds new challenges and fresh goals as my successor takes over the leadership of the AFP. His capacity to lead is tried and tested, and I know that the future of our organization and the vision for peace and progress are in capable hands with the help and support of the top leadership of the AFP. To Lieutenant General Brawner and to the AFP's top leadership, the men and women who will follow your lead and march to your pace are capable, committed, and truly commendable. The AFP of today has been molded, shaped, and strengthened by the vision and direction of our leaders, including the former chiefs of staff, some of whom are here with us this afternoon, who have come before you and me. United in purpose and action, the AFP can only continue to deliver on its pledge to the Filipino people. At this point, Mr. President, I am ready to submit my tour of duty report. On this last day of my journey in the military service, from being a 4th-class PMA cadet to the general that I am now, allow me to acknowledge and thank all those who have been part of my 39 years in uniform. To my late parents, Flaviano and Araceli, once again, I give you the honor and gratitude for guiding me towards the life of service. Thank you. To everyone I have worked with and served with through the years in the service, my upperclassmen, my peers, my classmates, my subordinates, thank you. To the Filipino people who have placed their trust and confidence in the AFP, thank you. You are the reason I serve and the reason I am proud to be a soldier. And as I save the best for last, I thank my family for the understanding and support through the years. You have been my rock and my anchor. Without you, my dear wife Sheila, and our 4 children, Bugsy, Rocky, Dion, and Adi, I would not have been able to do my best. I would not have been able to do the best I could be as a soldier, as a leader, and as a public servant. To our officers, soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, I salute your bravery, your dedication, and your professionalism. Stay steadfast and strong. The peace and progress that will enable a better future depend on you. And as I hang my uniform today, I extend my sincere wishes of goodwill to all. I have done my best for 39 good years. This is General Andres Centino rendering my final salute. Maraming salamat at magandang hapon sa ating lahat.
Once again, thank you to the immediate Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Andres Castor Centino, Philippine Army.
We shall witness the donning of rank to the new Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. The new Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Lieutenant General Romeo Brawner Jr., is requested to stand and step forward as the promotion order is read by the Adjutant General, Armed Forces of the Philippines.
Republic of the Philippines, Department of National Defense, General Headquarters, Armed Forces of the Philippines, Camp General Emilio Aguinaldo, Quezon City. General Orders Number 1116, published on 21 July 2023, ad interim appointment. Pursuant to the provisions of Republic Act Number 11709, as amended by Republic Act Number 11939, and in reference to the approved appointment by the President of the Republic of the Philippines, dated 21 July 2023, Lieutenant General Romeo Saturnino Brawner Jr., Officer -10052, Philippine Army, is appointed ad interim to the rank of General, effective 21 July 2023. By order of the Secretary of National Defense, Romeo Saturnino Brawner Jr., General, Philippine Army, Chief of Staff. Official signed, Bernardo Ortiz Jr., Brigadier General, Philippine Army, the Adjutant General.
The spouse of the new Chief of Staff, Mrs. Melody Mariel V. Brawner, is requested on stage.
His Excellency is requested for the donning of rank to the new Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces of the Philippines to be assisted by the Defense Secretary.
Congratulations to the newly promoted General Romeo Brawner Jr. Thank you to His Excellency, to Defense Secretary, and to Mrs. Brawner. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a big hand for General Romeo Brawner Jr.
At this point, the presiding officer will be introduced by Secretary Gilberto C. Chujoro Jr., Department of National Defense.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of our Republic and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos, Jr.
Thank you to our D&D Secretary, Secretary Gilbert Teodoro. Please take your seats. The Special Assistant to the President, Secretary Anton Lagdameo, other members of the Cabinet here present, our incoming AFP Chief of Staff, General Romeo S. Brawner, Jr., the immediate past AFP Chief of Staff, General Andy Centino, my fellow workers in government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am very happy to be with you here, to join you, to preside over the Armed Forces of the Philippines change of command and retirement ceremony for General Andy Centino. I congratulate him for successfully completing his tour of duty as Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces. You have demonstrated exemplary service and resolute commitment to our nation's peace, order, and security. Under your supervision, the AFP has made significant strides in reducing the presence and capabilities of communist and local terrorist groups. In terms of our national security, the AFP has conducted hundreds of maritime air patrols, naval surface patrols, as well as deployed hundreds of troops to defend our islands. The AFP also established dozens of littoral monitoring stations and detachments across the country. With regard to our peace support operations, the AFP has facilitated the deployment of military observers to United Nations peacekeeping operations in India and Pakistan, to the UN mission in South Sudan, and to the UN stabilization mission in the Central African Republic. I thus convey my utmost respect and gratitude to General Centino. As you enter your well-deserved retirement, I hope that you will continue to pursue endeavors that will benefit our fellow Filipinos and our entire nation. We have made sure that we do not lose the talent and the skills and the experience that General Andy has acquired over his many years, his 39 years of service. And so we have assigned him as the presidential assistant, as presidential advisor on the West Philippine Sea, so that we can be sure that all our policies in that regard are continuously evolving from what we had begun. Now, looking to the future, let us welcome the incoming Chief of Staff of the AFP, Lieutenant General, hindi na Lieutenant General, Romeo S. Brawner, Jr., given your extensive experience in safeguarding peace in conflict-affected areas, I urge you to recalibrate our internal security operations so that we can deliver public services in geographically isolated and disadvantaged communities. I know that your supervision will give rise to a safer and more secure nation, where more rebels return to the fold of the law and decide to be productive citizens. At this juncture, allow me to urge you all to work towards an armed forces that is agile and prepared for any contingency. As your Commander-in-Chief, I assure you that this administration is firm in reinforcing this noble pursuit by modernizing the AFP. Along with our efforts to strengthen our external defense capabilities, I ask you to continue working with national government agencies and civilian stakeholders to form an archipelagic consciousness amongst Filipinos. This will help champion our country's territorial integrity and sovereignty. I have faith that under the supervision of General Brawner, the armed forces will continue to ensure the security of Filipinos and the national sovereignty of our country amidst the challenges ahead. So together, let us protect the interests of our people. Let us help them fulfill their goals for themselves, for their families, for their communities, and for our nation. Mabuhay ang sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas. Maraming salamat sa inyo.
Once again, thank you very much, Mr. President, sir.
As we wind up today's event, please remain standing for the exit of colors.
Exit the colors.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the Armed Forces of the Philippines Change of Command and Retirement Ceremony in honor of General Andres C. Centino, Philippine Army.
Likewise, please remain in your respective places until the President has left the hall.
A big hand for President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Enjoyed this video? Hit the like button and share with your friends. Also, subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.